The subject tonight, insecurity. I believe because of the many people I've been working with over many years, which has been made possible, of course, by the internet, Skype and Zoom and stuff like that, that I've been able to connect with people on an ongoing basis. Whereas before the internet came along, if any of you are old enough to remember that, that was not possible because I was traveling around much of Australia and then the world, and I was never in one place long enough to work with people over a long period of time. All that has changed because of the internet. As a result, I've been able to observe everyone who showed up for a session and understand them better. The fundamental issue behind everything that they talk about is insecurity. I think that it is the root cause of all the problems people face on the planet today, together with all of the conflict that arises. There are many aspects to this and many reasons for insecurity. I'm not really concerned with the reasons at the moment, although possibly it could just be a fundamental change from oneness into the physical world. If there was sufficient charge existing in a previous experience that took you into what the Buddhists call a bardo, then you would have awoken in a reality that you obviously related to, that you felt was real, but it was just an intermediate stage, a projection of your consciousness. It was a realm, according to the Buddhists, of becoming. So it's not really possible to say that we all came from the same place, into this life with the same sort of set of information, the same set of rules. However, try to accept for the moment that when you were still not in the body, you were the soul, if you like, and that the soul is the everlasting aspect of the self. It is not your personality that is associated with your body. Instead, we view the soul as representative of the self. The soul, before it was accommodated in a physical body, was in a state of oneness. Without a body, there is no separation, no time, no space. We only have time and space and separation when we're in physical form, of course. If there is no physical form associated with that which you currently believe to be your soul until you're born, it could be a rude shock, really coming from that place of oneness, of possibly safety, security, non-duality, into a body again. A form where you're indoctrinated into various processes, many of which you need to survive in the physical world, but many of which are just stories handed down to you by your parents. Those stories were, in their turn, handed down to them as well. So, the actual act of being born into a body can be quite traumatic, even though you might have had a relatively comfortable childhood. The fact of waking up and finding yourself in this sort of polarized duality, this physical world, can be quite a shock. For a lot of people, especially those who experience trauma in early childhood, would look for ways to make their life more comfortable, more safe. And there's many different ways we do that. The employment we choose, the partner we choose, depending on where we're born, who we're born to, the social environment. We try to do all sorts of things to make life more comfortable, safer. We look for things. We work harder. We follow certain sets of rules. We try to fit in our behavior, with those people around us, with society, because to be rejected is uncomfortable for someone who is insecure. There are many ways we try to achieve a state of security, and I don't think ultimately any of them will work, principally because of the nature of the one who is looking. I think there has got to be something else that we can do to understand what's going on. Now, I don't know about your history, but mine certainly is very strongly tied into the teachings of the Buddha. I've been following those teachings for a long, long time. According to those teachings, there is no safety, there is no security in this physical world, no permanence. It's a very tenuous hold we have on life. I mean, just a simple fact that we're on this tiny little marble, whizzing through space at a gazillion miles an hour, into all sorts of debris and passing through all sorts of information fields. A marble which is surrounded by a very thin layer of oxygen, of atmosphere, that we need to stay alive. We tend to hold on to the past, and this is another issue that I find with a lot of people who have trouble resting in the moment, in the here and now. It is because of their subconscious addictions to the past. This addiction is just a condition arising out of when we were born, where we were born. As a result of the clearing I've been doing over the years, plus possibly my interest in Buddhist teachings, then I'm not quite so addicted to the past anymore as I once was. I think it is possible to be totally separate, to be totally divorced from the past. I'm not sure I'm there yet, but I think it is possible, and that it should be a goal of ours to break free of this cycle, this wheel of becoming, so that we get choice back in what we do and where we go and how we do it. I think that your current reality has to be a product of your past. So where you've made decisions, whether those decisions have been conscious or subconscious, where you've been educated, programmed, indoctrinated, or where you've been brought up in society, they will create what you believe to be your reality. For me, the approach through clearing has been coming to the issue of addiction from an angle where I haven't had to confront my past at all. I don't believe that's necessary. We don't need to do that. If we continue to practice our clearing, we are actually liberating the self from the past, even though it may happen very slowly, not fast enough for some of you, too fast for others, but it will happen if you continue to practice. So this whole idea of insecurity, what we need, what we do, how we behave, our language is all designed around that. Our thoughts and our actions are all designed around a fundamental insecurity. And all the time that is the case, then we're never going to be able to find the peace that we feel or we think is out there and possible.